Welcome to this video on entering timesheets in advanced projects by Progressus. In this video, we'll cover entering overtime in a regular timesheet, how to enable modern timesheets, and how to enter overtime in a modern timesheet. There are two options for the presentation of a timesheet to the user. In this demo, we'll first enter overtime in the default timesheet entry page, and the second timesheet option can be enabled in Project Setup by selecting True for the field Use Modern Timesheet. From the ribbon, select Time and Expense, and then Timesheet Entry to open timesheets. You could also select the Open Timesheets box from the Time and Expense Entry section in the Role Center. Select the resource number to enter time. Select a timesheet period. Enter the project number, task code, and other pertinent information for the timesheet, and then enter the full amount of time worked in the date field. This means regular time plus overtime. It's important to note here that if you enter hours without clicking into the Edit Time Entries page, the hours you enter will be treated as regular hours. In order to record overtime hours, you must use the following process. Click the ellipse next to the hours that you entered, and this opens the Edit Time Entries page where you can differentiate the regular hours from overtime hours. On the first line, the time pay type defaults to regular. Since we entered 10 hours and we only want 8 of it to be paid as regular time, scroll to the quantity field and change it from 10 to 8. Next, add a second line and change the pay type default to overtime. Scroll to the quantity field and enter 2 to indicate that 2 of the original 10 hours are paid as overtime. After you've entered the time and closed the Edit Time Entries page, the hours that displayed on the roll-up timesheet is the sum of the detail lines entered in the Edit Time Entries page. When there are multiple lines that roll up into a summary amount, the quantity on the rolled up field displays as green and bold-faced. This is your indicator that additional lines exist that support that quantity. Next, click into Ellipse again and change the overtime quantity to 3. You'll note that the time changes on the rolled up line from 10 to 11 hours. If you click to expand the fact box page, the time entries section displays the breakdown of the lines by time payment type, regular time versus overtime. Click Close to close the page and then process as normal. To use the second option for timesheet entry, to enter time and overtime, you need to first enable this option in Project Setup. Open Project Setup and scroll down to Time and Expense Registry Fast tab. Toggle the field for Use Modern Timesheet to On. Once this is enabled, create a new timesheet using the previous steps, either from the Role Center, Time and Expense, Timesheet Entry, or from the Activities section, Time and Expense Entry, Open Timesheets. In the Modern Timesheet, you'll enter one line for regular hours and one line for overtime hours, specifying the time pay type of regular and overtime on each line. In this example, we'll enter 8 hours for the first line with the time pay type as regular, and on the second line, enter the 2 hours with the time pay type as overtime. Note that in the Details section, you have the option to view the modern timesheet as either line or matrix. The current view is set to line. If we change it to matrix, the view changes to resemble the view you would have in a regular timesheet that was demonstrated previously. Change the show field from lines to matrix, and the lines display appear similar to the lines in the regular timesheet entry. In a matrix where you need to drill down into the quantity hours of 10 to see the regular versus overtime hours. We'll drill into Edit Time Entries and change the overtime hours to 3. You'll see that the total time changes here in the line and matrix view, and when you expand the fact box, you can view regular hours versus overtime. Thanks for your time in reviewing how to enter overtime in advanced projects by Progressus using the regular timesheet and the modern timesheet. For more information, please see the link included here.